Hey, family, welcome back to another episode of the Gero podcast with your host, Adrianne D. Jones. Now, today we're talking about my favorite program in aging services, and that is senior centers. And I want to give you a little secret. So, my love for seniors and senior centers is really what led me into the field of gerontology. And today's guest is going to talk about senior centers whose services are tailored for specific populations and ethnicities. Now, contrary to what some believe, senior centers are not a one size fits all. And every center has its own subculture as well as its own vibe. And today we have the pleasure of speaking with Tammy Lee, who's the center manager of a thriving program for Asian older adults here in South Metro Atlanta. So I want all of you to welcome Tammy Lee to the Gero Juice. Tammy, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. And I'm very honored to being on your podcast.
Thank you. And we are honored as well. And you bring something so unique to the field of aging. I'm excited. I want to dive right in. First, I want to ask you, how did you get into the space of aging services and working with older adults?
I would have to thank my mom for that. I actually graduated with a degree in marketing, and after not being able to find a job in my field, I went to go work as a pharmacy tech. And then my mom was wanting to expand the senior center into another location in the north side. So she says, hey, how about you come on, learn how we operate here. And then when we open the north side, you can go and run the North Senior Center. So I said, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is history. I've been here ever since. It has changed my life. It has changed my perspective on seniors and how to treat them and how people programs should definitely be tailored to more to them because they are getting left behind, unfortunately.
Right. And I want you to expand right there. Tell us how it has changed your life. Like, tell us, like, what have you seen working with seniors that you could possibly apply to your own life, or just tell us what difference has it made?
Seniors are very fragile. I grew up
Mm-hmm.
having the opportunity to live with my grandparents. They fortunately
Mm-hmm.
are still alive with me, and growing up knowing how they operate, older people, a lot of people, when they think of their grandparents, it's just like, oh, seeing them for the holidays. Okay, how are you doing? Great. And then done. You don't really keep in contact. But living with my grandparents, I could see how they changed mentally. But then working with the seniors as well has been given me the opportunity to treat my grandparents better. Even I
Okay.
live with them, sometimes my grandfather has dementia, and
Mm-hmm.
anyone who deals with a loved one who has dementia, it is very hard because when they
Right.
do something wrong, the first reaction you want to do is yell at them. But if I have a client who
Mm-hmm.
has dementia, obviously being professional, I don't want to yell at them. Therefore, it kind of changes my
Right.
perspective of, okay, if I'm like this to my client, I should also treat my grandfather the same way. And so that has helped in my
Right.
personal life. Another way that has changed is I've always thought seniors, they live with their parents, especially when they get older. That was
Mm-hmm.
just the concept that I thought, oh, if your parents are older, you take them under your wing. But a lot of the seniors that I work
Yes.
with, they live alone. And when I ask them, why don't you
Mm-hmm.
live with their kids? The majority of the
Mm-hmm.
answers is, oh, I don't want to bother them, or they've moved on with their own
Mm-hmm.
lives, or
Mm-hmm.
I just, I'm used to living by myself now. And it's
Mm-hmm.
heartbreaking to see that they are by themselves, they have no help, or maybe they don't even drive, they don't speak English. How can they survive and thrive in this world when they're unfamiliar with everything? So that's why they come to our
Mm-hmm.
senior center, because we provide translation services in Vietnamese. They rely on us so much to do
Wow.
everything for them. So we're kind of like their kids. as well.
Uh, Wow. You shared something so powerful to me. So I've studied ethnicity and aging, and one of the concepts that has stuck out to me the most is the concept or the model, I'll say, of filial piety. And with that, I know, and it's bigger in Asian cultures than it is in Western culture, is exactly what you said about having your parents or your grandparents live with you or taking them under your wing when they age, right? And
Hmm.
so, another caveat to that is, as you know, more Asian countries become westernized, much of that tradition is being separated. And so it's funny that you say that you asked, some of the seniors in your program, why don't you live with your children or grandchildren? And they say they don't want to bother them. And so I want to ask you, you being kind of like that surrogate granddaughter to many of the participants in your program, I want you to tell us more about that. Like, what activities can those older adults expect when they come through the door? What classes, like, what are you guys doing there?
Sure. So our senior centers, we operate on Tuesdays and Saturdays for the South Side, and then
Mm-hmm.
on Wednesdays only in the North Side. When they come into
Mm-hmm.
the senior center, they're offered breakfast. They can sing karaoke, they can dance. We do have an exercise class for 30 minutes beforehand. And then they
Mm-hmm.
eat lunch, they play bingo. Sometimes we would have games or we'll have some sort of ceremony, depending on the holiday, or if we have a guest speaker, we can include those. And then after
Yeah.
bingo, they go home with a bag of food because we also partner with the Atlanta Food Bank and they leave with food as
Good.
well.
Mm-hmm. And so, is there like a favorite activity that you have? I want to know that because I know I've worked in senior centers before in Clayton County, and it was just like one big class, one big exercise class that was so popular. I took the time out to go attend the class to make sure I got some physical movement in. But I want to ask you, do you have a favorite class?
I don't. I'm more of the
Mm-hmm.
backhand in the office when the seniors come
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
that day might be the only day that they have a ride because everyone's going to the senior
Mm-hmm.
center and they might have some paperwork that needs to be done. So those days are my
Mm-hmm.
busiest days, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, when
Mm-hmm.
they all come to me, hey, I
Okay.
got this mail, or hey, I don't know how to do this, or why'd I got this bill? So I spend most of my days not participating outside. That's my mom's job and all the
Mm-hmm.
other volunteers.
Yeah.
I'm more in the back office doing paperwork.
Paperwork. Okay. Nothing wrong with paperwork. We need someone that can get that stuff done. I'm not a paperwork person, but so thank you for helping, get those types of tasks done in the program. But I want to know, you know, are there any testimonies or any highlights that you have seen come out of your program? When I talk about testimonies, I'm talking about some of your participants. Have they, expressed, their gratefulness of the program? Have you seen, maybe one participant, maybe they come in, maybe they start the program at a certain point, maybe they start isolated or not as engaged, and then a couple months down the line, you see a different person.
Yes, for sure. I've had a couple move from Louisiana over here, and I can't remember how they found out about us. I think just word of mouth hearing. And they came and asking us to help do paperwork for them. They were like, a little skeptical because they don't know who we are. They just moved here. So it's understandable.
Mhm.
We help them in the best way
Mhm.
possible. And then now I see them every single week at the senior center. That's like one of the example. Another
Mhm.
one is a lot of them may have lost their partner because they are older now. And some
Mhm.
people have actually found new love in the senior center.
Mhm.
Like the person who worked as our chef, she just retired and then she found someone in the senior center and she got married to him. We did a whole celebration. We went
Oh,
on a
wow.
riverboat cruise in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Oh.
and we did like a little mini
Yeah.
celebration on the boat for their wedding. Or yeah.
Yeah.
Had like another lady who just moved also came to us, and when we were explaining to her the things that we could help her with, she thought we were scammers because she was
Mm.
taken back by, why are these people so nice? Like, how are they doing all these things? I don't kind of believe you. So my mom was like,
Yeah.
okay, how about we just do one thing that you need us to do first, and then see and go
Mm-hmm.
from there. And now,
Mm-hmm.
anytime she needs anything, she always calls me or my mom, especially like making an appointment for the doctors. She'll call us to
Yeah.
help her. So it definitely does change people's lives.
Yeah.
I know, from skepticism to believers, and then people
Mm-hmm.
who, let's say, are homebound, they're depressed,
Mm-hmm.
but then after they
Mm-hmm.
go out and then they see that there is value. Or some
Mm-hmm.
people, like my grandfather, he was in the Vietnam War, and some of the
Mm-hmm.
members at the senior centers was in combat with him, which I find that
Mm.
so funny,
That's interesting.
because you
Yeah.
move from Vietnam, you have anywhere else to move to, but you guys picked Georgia, specifically
Yeah.
Forest Park, and then here you are. So I think
Yeah.
that's pretty unique.
Very unique. Wow. And I could only imagine, like you said, you're coming from one country to another country, and here you are, and you reunite and reconnect with someone in Forest Park, Georgia. So many
Yeah.
other places, to go, but that is very unique. And, as we're, talking about the uniqueness of your program, you mentioned that, there's someone there to help translate from Vietnamese, to English. But is there other aspects of this program that are unique? And, for me, I see it like this, being in the South, and I think I mentioned this to you. Being in the South, many of the senior centers have an overlay of Southern culture, right? And
Mhm.
so, with that, the cuisine is going to be more Southern culture with the fried chicken and the grits and all the things that come along with that. And then some may be more, focused on African American culture or,
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. But being an Asian senior center, I think you're primarily Vietnamese, right?
Correct.
And being, Vietnamese centered older adult program here in the South, I know there's a uniqueness about your program. So I want you to share a little bit about that.
So to touch on the food, yes. So we do serve a lot of Asian meals. We
Okay.
try occasionally serving like fried chicken or spaghetti, so they have something different and unique to taste.
Mm-hmm.
But that only is like once in a while. Other than
Okay.
that, we don't serve anything but Vietnamese food. Sometimes for breakfast, the volunteer will serve whatever we have on hand. So on
Cool.
Saturday, I saw that they made tacos for breakfast. So I don't
Cool.
know if the seniors liked it or not, but I saw that was
Yeah.
being served. Um, a uniqueness about our features is majority of the programs or the services that we provide is free. So
Oh,
I help, when I say paperwork, I help them apply for Medicare, Medicaid,
yeah.
food
Yes.
stamps,
Mm-hmm.
health insurance, home care services. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the uniqueness, because a lot of people, they try to navigate through retiring by themselves or
Right.
trying to go through Google. But let's be real, Medicare is confusing. Insurance
Yes.
itself is confusing. And
Yes.
so if I, who could read English, is confused about what is this website telling me to do, it's so much easier meeting someone to explain it in layman's term. So I think that's
Right.
very unique, because not a lot of people understand Medicare. And sometimes when you call Social Security, it can be hours on hold, and every time you talk to a representative, it's always a different answer.
Mm-hmm. And you're speaking to me when you say that because I wish I had someone that could do my healthcare stuff. every year. Right now, I wish I had someone that could do my taxes, but that's a whole nother whole nother story, a
Yeah.
whole nother show for another day. I want to talk about, your structure. You have a thriving program, a thriving, unique program here in South Metro Atlanta. And so I want to know, where do you see your program in the next 5 years? Is there any plans, around expanding to different counties? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we do have two senior centers at the
Mhm.
moment, and I can tell you it is very tough running
Okay.
when 100% of your staff are volunteer based.
Mhm.
So that is something that we struggle with, and we're
Mhm.
trying to resolve that issue. Um, and then expanding wise, I think we're okay for now. The
Mhm.
only type of expanding I would like to do is the classes. One
Mhm.
thing I would say we do lack is offering classes.
Mhm.
So like technology,
Mhm.
English, etc. But that
Mhm.
again, it's only because 100% of our staff are volunteers. We
Volunteers.
need people to teach these classes, but another problem that we're facing the seniors, they don't have a ride. Or let's
Mm.
say if we offer it on Wednesdays, but on Wednesdays, majority of them are busy. So we're
Mm.
trying to figure out how to resolve that. And then the
Okay.
day that they do come, they would like to, participate in the singing and the dancing. So there's no time for classes on those days either. But
Okay.
that's something that I'm looking to fix or redo our structure wise,
Sure.
maybe implementing the class
Right.
before the singing and dancing,
Okay.
or maybe after. So that's something we're looking into. Um, yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Okay. And, and I'm hearing what you say when you say, you know, classes, the shortage of volunteers, seniors in transportation. And you know what? When I hear you, you echo a lot of professionals who work within the senior center programming model. And so I want to ask you, what are some of your ideal, or who are some of your ideal partnerships that you think could help support your program?
That is a really good question.
Mhm.
Now I was introduced to Clayton County
Okay.
Senior Services, and I'm trying to see if we could form some sort of partnership.
Sure.
The last time I toured it with Miss Tori,
Mhm.
and she was talking about how their struggle over there at their senior centers is diversity. Over
Mhm.
here, my struggle is activities, the
Mhm.
the various activities that we offer. So we
Mhm.
were trying to brainstorm and come together. Okay, instead of complaining about what we don't have and trying to figure
Mhm.
out what we don't have, how about we use what we do have? So
Sure.
we can take our seniors from my senior center, transport them over to her senior center, where there are different activities because their space is larger. They have a
Okay.
pool, they have a billiards table,
Yeah.
they have a computer
Yeah.
lab.
Yeah.
And then her seniors can come to my center where they can explore the Asian culture, try Vietnamese cuisine.
Yeah.
That will help balance out our two missing pieces.
Sure. And that is a powerful partnership. And, I feel like it would be the most powerful partnership for on both ends, being exposed to different culture for some of the Clayton County seniors, and for your seniors, being exposed to many different types of classes and amenities. Like you said, the pool, that's huge. And other types of physical exercise classes. I think they also have a garden at a few of the centers. So that is a powerful partnership. Any other partnerships that you wouldn't mind connecting with your program?
At the moment, we have
Mhm.
connected with a few doctors who
Okay.
would come to this senior center and do flu shots or
Sure.
COVID shots when that was going on. So they wouldn't have the struggle to go to,
Yeah.
the pharmacy or
Yeah.
their doctors. We
Uh-huh.
just recently partnered with a chiropractor who
Good.
came, did some services, talking about his new product, and then did a demo for a couple seniors on their joints. And then now he's talking about how he wants to bring a nurse to come do an exam to see if they need any extra help, maybe having adjustments or doing physical therapy. So that's another partnership. So I think like medical
Hmm.
partnerships has been very helpful for us, especially
Sure.
because when they go to the doctors, a lot
Hmm.
of the times it's in English.
Yep.
They're kind of like, oh, what do I have? Okay, pain. Like that's what they understand, but they don't understand
Yeah.
how to treat the pain. They're
Yes.
prescribed something,
Hmm.
but now, I think the chiropractor, he goes up and he talks about like, okay, what is this pain? What does it mean? Where does it come from? So I think his lectures really help the seniors and they understand better.
Hmm.
Another partnership, I think transportation, something with transportation. I would love to take the
Okay.
senior somewhere.
Yeah.
And at least once a year, next month,
Hmm.
we're actually taking, I think we're taking 20 something seniors to go on a
Hmm.
cruise with us.
Oh, you said a cruise.
Yeah, a cruise. So we're
Oh,
gonna go
wow.
next month, and that's pretty exciting because the last
Yeah.
time we went was last year, and I think only 8 went with us. But
Hmm.
8 was already a handful, and now we're doubling the size, and I'm like, I don't know.
That should be fun. Now, where are you guys cruising to?
We're going to Jamaica, to the
Oh
Bahamas,
my.
and then another like private island.
Yeah. Oh, that is wonderful. Now, I'm excited because cruising is one of my favorite things to do, especially in the summertime. So,
Mhm.
I have a birthday next month. And so, with school ending and, all these different things taking place, and my birthday's right in there. I'm like, cruising is like my favorite birthday thing. And I try things, but nothing beats it because you get to go to all these different destinations and it's cheap, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
cost that much. And for you to be taking seniors, that is super awesome. So I'm excited for you all. And it's Older Americans Month. So who can beat a cruise in May for Older Americans Month?
Yeah, no, it's definitely great. I do love cruising as an idea for seniors,
Mhm.
mainly because it takes out the planning for
Yeah.
me. I don't
Yeah.
have to think about what to eat, how to
Nope.
entertain them, put them on the ship. All right, meet me here at 5 o'clock if you want to do this.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. Oh my goodness. Safe travels to you all. I'm sure it will be
Thank you.
fun. And as we're closing out our interview today, anything else that you would like to share with our listeners?
We are, again, open to everyone. We're not
Okay.
just only Vietnamese. You don't have to be Vietnamese and you don't have to be a senior to come to our senior center because that's a lot of misconception when people stop by. Oh, I see your sign outside. Do I have to be like 70 to come
Mhm.
in? No, you don't. So even if you're 30, 40, 50, you can come in. You don't have to be Vietnamese. And I help everyone with everything. Protect. Because if I don't know how to do it, I'm going to figure out how to do it for you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Tammy Lee. Listen, everyone, you don't want to miss this episode. You have to tune in, subscribe to the Gero Juice YouTube channel on YouTube, okay, Facebook. Follow us, Gero Juice. This has been an amazing interview. Again, you're talking to Tammy Lee, Senior Center Manager of a Vietnamese program for older adults here in South Metro Atlanta. I'm excited. I know she's excited. I'm excited for this cruise that they're taking next month. Listen, every Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, you can catch the Gero Juice radio show at 1570 The Pace Setter. That's 1570 The Pace Center. It is one of Metro Atlanta's oldest and thriving radio stations. I'm going to end right here. I hope you all stay safe in all that you do. Again, subscribe, Facebook, YouTube, The Gero Juice, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.